Hey, all of you in YouTube land, I just thought I would post another update. It's been 12 days since my surgery, and it went beautifully. We'll start with the numbers, I guess. So the day of my surgery, I weighed 409 pounds. And as of today, I weigh 384. So I've lost 25 pounds in the last, 12 days. Pretty good, about two pounds a week or more. I'll give you a little story about my surgery. So I checked into the hospital at 5:15 in the morning. My surgery was at 7. They got me all ready, rolled me right in. 7 o'clock sharp, I was in the surgery room. It was all pretty smooth. The doctors were great. Everyone was introducing themselves. And before I know it, I was knocked out. That's all I remember. So I was in the surgery right at 7. I woke up in recovery at 1:15. And it turns out that when I was 10 years old, I had my spleen removed because of a bicycle accident. So I already had a scar on my stomach. Well, it turns out there was a lot of scar tissue. And I had such an amazing doctor because he spent almost 3 hours only just removing the scar tissue so he can do the surgery. I mean, I love this guy because he's a great surgeon. He went through all that extra effort just to make sure that he could do this surgery laparoscopically. He thought they'd have to cut me open to do the surgery, but as opposed to doing that the easy way, he went the hard route and went through, got rid of all my scar tissue, and went in there and did the surgery. So the surgery took 4.5 hours. This guy's amazing. So big props to Dr. Roux-en-y at Pacific Bariatrics. So anyway, I woke up at recovery at 1:15. They took me right into my room. I was so lucky because I got my own private room, which is just, I have to say, was probably the best part of staying at the hospital. The whole time I had my own private room. It was nice and quiet. And the staff and the nurses, everybody that worked there was just so nice and so amazing. It was at Scripps Mercy here in San Diego. Another thing I was pretty lucky is because a lot of the people I followed and connected with in our pre-op classes, everybody had nausea and cramps and didn't feel good, and it was kind of a rough stay in the hospital, and I went to visit a lot of them when they had the surgery, so I was really expecting the worst. And I was so lucky because I had no nausea. I felt great right out of recovery. Next to no pain. Of course, I was on painkillers, which I was only on painkillers the first 2 days. I mean, after that, I felt fine. I mean, there was some little discomfort because you can tell they did some work inside of me. But other than that, after day 2, I didn't feel like I needed the painkillers anymore, and I was good. So I didn't have any nausea, cramps, and next to no pain in general. So I feel pretty lucky in general. This whole experience was really good. So I'm saying that because a lot of people didn't have that great experience. They did have nausea, which I think is pretty common. So if you have the surgery, you may or may not. You never know what'll happen. They took me on a lap around 4 o'clock that day, so I did a little loop around the floor. I had a little painkiller button, which was great because I was just laying in bed, and every time I turned green, I can hit it again if I wanted more. So I was pushing it every hour or so, and I felt comfortable the whole time. Took a lot of naps here and there. Now they had a lot of rules, like this particular surgeon required you to stay in the hospital 3 days, and the rule is in that 3 days that you have to do the following things before you can be discharged. And of course, one of them is you have to release all that gas they gave you. And of course, I didn't feel like I had any gas in me, and I kept telling them I didn't think I did. And on day 3, I didn't release any gas till day 3, so I was relieved that I finally got some of that out. You also had to have at least 1 BM, bowel movement. You couldn't leave unless you had one. And I kept thinking to myself, I've been on liquids all this time. How am I going to have a BM? But sure enough, out of the blue, 2 o'clock in the morning, the morning before I got checked out, boom, one popped out. A little rabbit pellet, but it came out. You have to do 8 laps per day on the surgery floor, or on the room floor. I had to get blowing into a device, you're probably familiar with this, that makes sure you don't get any pneumonia. And all my vitals need to be pretty normal, and for the most part, they stayed pretty normal the whole time. Let me see, I took some notes here so I would remember to say everything. So on day 3, the day I got discharged, I was so lucky. It was on Father's Day, and I thought, oh, this surgeon that's going to come, it was another surgeon. It wasn't my surgeon. He was probably going to show up at the end of the day because he's probably hanging out with his family on Father's Day. He showed up at 7 o'clock in the morning and discharged me at 7:30. I couldn't be any happier. So I got a ride home, and I slept for 3 beautiful hours. It was so nice to get like a solid night's sleep. It's pretty tough to sleep in those hospitals because people are coming in your room every couple hours to take a vital or give you a shot or whatever. So I was on liquids for 9 days. The day before surgery, I started liquids, and I was just running liquids the whole time. So that was Crystal Light, water, whatever. And of course, real quick to go back to the hospital, the day I get out of my surgery, I was only allowed to use like a swab in my mouth to keep my mouth moist. I wasn't supposed to drink anything. Day 2, I was able to do ice chips, and day 3, I was able to do Crystal Light or water. So that worked out great. Sorry, I was reading my notes. Follow-up visit to the surgeon. So right after I got out of the hospital, stayed home for the whole week, relaxed, got a lot of sleep. I was on liquids for 9 days. Right after the surgery, it was crazy. I keep telling people, because they keep asking me, aren't you hungry? Aren't you starving? Especially with only liquids. And I say, it's hard to explain, but it's like someone turned a switch off inside of me. It's like I don't think about food. I don't have any hunger pains. I don't have any cravings. It was kind of a foreign feeling for me because, I was a foodie for sure. So anyway, I stayed home for a week, did my follow-up visit with my surgeon that Friday after my surgery. And the only problem I had was that when they did the incisions, I think they put a small little surgery tape over each incision. Well, my skin, about the day before I went to go meet my doctor, my skin had a little effect, like it was turning red and puffy, and it turned out it didn't like that tape at all. So he took it off, and I put some cortisone on each scar, and it went away within a few days. From that appointment, my doctor graduated me to soft foods, and I couldn't wait to have soft foods. So some of my favorite soft foods so far are split pea soup, refried beans. I don't know if you guys had the Laughing Cow cheeses. They make those little cheese triangles in different flavors like Swiss, blue cheese, queso fresco, tomato basil. They're so good. And I even put a little bit of cheese in the refried beans. It's the best. I had my first scrambled egg today, and it was good. I ate it, felt satisfied. And when I say scrambled egg, I mean singular. And I ate it, and I felt like I was doing okay, but I think eating one whole scrambled egg was just too much because I felt like it was sitting in there almost for like 4 hours. So I think I gotta eat less than a whole scrambled egg. My dog will love me because I'll give her all the leftovers. I say the only complaint I have is energy's a little low, but I think that's really to be expected because we're eating a lot less and body's going through these changes. Talked to the Kaiser today, and they said, yeah, just go ahead and increase my B12, so I'll start taking that 3 days a week. And that should make the difference. So that's my update. I hope it's helpful for you guys, and I'll keep updating you guys as we move along. I'm very excited about the progress so far, and I'm beyond pleased with the whole experience, and feeling great and looking forward to the progress. So thanks for watching, and I'll give you an update again soon. Talk to you soon.